Alright, there we go. OBS is still doing that weird thing where I click the start stream button and it just doesn't register at all. I have to click it like 3 times. I'm not sure if that's like a new safety feature where it's like, oh, I tabbed out and accidentally clicked start stream or something. In which case, that would be a really cool feature, but it's like, it takes a second for me to get used to. The issue is if I spam click it 3 times and it decides not to do that, it'll start the stream, stop the stream, and then start the stream again, and like freak out a few things, so I have to be a little cautious when that happens, but maybe it's just an adjustment. Regardless, how are y'all doing? We've got 2 dedicated streams today. We have OFCRA on Thursdays, and then later today we will have some POG. It's the continuation of the Broken Crown campaign. Looks like we just got started. And let me hit a few buttons here to initialize. So you might remember this is a mission from last year that broke. And they are attempting to rerun it with all of the fixes in play. Bit of a weird scenario we have today. It is the United Kingdom with Russian backing versus, or I guess technically British, because British backed by the Russians, because against them is Scotland, Ireland, and the French. So it's a bit of a weird secession going on for this scenario, but let me go ahead and put the prediction up. I know you guys like to bet. And let me find that blue 4. Alright, French gets slightly cut off. That's fine. I'll set it for 15 minutes because it's usually like an 8-minute safe start round. But we'll go over the objectives and we'll see how things go. Regardless, we're going to look at weaponry first. So the French with the Scottish and Irish, we've got 8... gosh, alright, so that's a 230 scope on a AUG. Got some GPMGs. Got some M4 platforms with 203 grenade launchers. I want to also look at the vehicles real quick. We got some 50 cal cars with some GMPGs on the front seat as well, but that appears to be the only armed vehicle I see. Looking at the rest of these guys, we see the AUG-3s, we see the M4-based platforms. Could be 416 based as well. Got some marksman variants of the 416 for the French forces. That makes sense. But otherwise, that is pretty much it. Just a bunch of different NATO-based calibers here, 5.56 and some 7.62 by 51 machine guns. OFCRA, meanwhile, to the south, looking at them. They have some scoped Land Rovers. Okay. So that gives OFCRA a little bit of an advantage there. And then we see the L-85s combined with, I'm going to assume we're going to see some Russian weaponry as well, but we see the scoped L-85 there as the marksman variant. And that's also a British GPMG right there. GPMG is general purpose machine gun. Looks like Russia's providing a bunch of vehicles for them, but I'm not seeing any Russian troops specifically. I'm only seeing the backing and vehicle support. You also have the L-85's machine gun variant with the bipod at the end, but I think that's being used as a marksman rifle. Yeah, I don't see any Russian-based weaponry. Interesting. Otherwise, let's go ahead and look at the objectives here specifically. So I'm going to pull up the objectives for this fight. Apparently, the only general information for this was no vampires. Cute. Regardless, there are 3 areas to fight in this AO, and they have to be captured in a specific order. So the first objective people are going to be fighting over is the Lodge right here, which is, I believe this is an Arma 1 era ported building. Yeah, no furniture inside. That would make the most sense. It's worth a single point whoever captures this by the 50-minute mark. Then you have the station, which is worth 2 points at the 70-minute mark. And then you have a medical center, which is over here, which is worth 3 points at the 90-minute mark. And if you keep your commander alive by the 70-minute mark, you gain a bonus point. Commanders are going to be Fawns for OPT4 and Galeski for, or Galevsky I, excuse me, I never know how to pronounce his name, as Blue Force Command. Scottish Force is going to be commanding Blue Force side. I'm assuming this is all British forces, and then there's just some, you know, Russian assets backing them. But that is a pretty standard spread for an open AO like this. If you rush in and get the early advantage, you're only rewarded with a few points. It's more advantageous to go for the bigger point positions. The Lodge is kind of only worth about 1/6 or 1/7 of the points total. Not really worth it to go for that. Instead, you probably just want to go for the station and the medical center, and then use this river as a choke point to prevent your opponent from going for it. So I would imagine both sides would potentially be sending maybe only a squad or two to the Lodge, and then focusing everything else on the station and the medical center, keeping both of their commanders in the back line away from contact, and just trying to be a little safe about that, at least till a 70-minute mark. Then they'll put all hands on deck. It's also important to note that the AOs are designed to also fit more people depending on how more valuable the objective is. I don't see, even with all these different windows and shooting positions, you could only fit a squad or two up here at most, and God forbid someone gets a grenade or an AT round in one of the rooms where multiple people could be, and that's going to kill them all, you know? Now, if we look at the station, you see a few more buildings, and it's technically this entire area right here, but you do have some additional Overwatch buildings next to it. But the station itself is a pretty open area that people do have to be a little mindful of. So we'll probably see some entrenched positions dug around it, just so they can defend it a little easier. And then the medical center, I mean, this is a big set of two buildings with a little walkway built right here, and then some rooftop access with a stairwell. I mean, you could fit an entire platoon in this building easy. Now, this is a cereal box. It's just there for texture, but it's technically also outside the capture zone. So it's definitely favoring bigger objectives for putting more people into the AO. Ilbanek, I have tested. It works pretty much like your plugin from way back when. So it's all good. It's just you got to make sure everyone that's playing Arma updates their TFAR plugin. Otherwise, they'll start breaking. But how you doing, broski? Let's see, operations-wise, other than having Pug tonight, I'll be on the ground for that Broken Crown campaign. I'll play it a little more cautiously because I got absolutely murked last mission. Ouch. Tomorrow, I'll be hosting at 12:30 to 3. I'm not sure if I'll do FNF. I'm thinking about taking FNF and doing it bi-weekly going forward because they're not, like, their player count's down to, like, 30 to 40 people. And what that's turned into is the rounds, there's a lot less action in them, and it's a little harder for me to cover and to stay engaged. So I'd rather start working with them bi-weekly, but always trying to go to their wargame events when they're hosted, because that's when they get back into the triple digits. I also want to look back into jumping into TBD. It's just TBD was done at a time slot that was very, very difficult to constantly get access to. So between that and War Games, it was always difficult for me to cover both of those events, you know? So it's just like, well, it pretty much is just ported in. Also sounds like an issue for them. Yeah, fair, right? But my goal is to try to cover more of the larger PvP events for the, you know, the last full year of Arma 3's existence before Arma 4 starts coming into play. But I've got a lot of plans for what I want to do. It's just finding the time to execute them all, you know? Horse Herd, you might see more of it here and there. I'm working on a schedule for it, but again, it just depends on my availability. Because full disclosure, I try to work a part-time job now. There's something else I want to get into that's also going to start eating away at my weekends. And on top of all of that, you know, I'm trying to do all my standard Zeusing stuff. So, it just takes a lot of time. But I'm really excited for my quote-unquote SWAT mission tomorrow. I got to get the player base roster set for that one. But that's going to be a fun one. Because we get to play with a mechanic in Arma 3 that I don't think I've ever showcased. But it's existed for at least 8 years. And it's going to be really, really fun because if the players are quick, the op is going to be really, really easy. If they're not quick, God help them if they're not quick. Or if they let something through the cracks and it gets into their spawn, Oh, it's gonna be a beautiful one. But you'll see. You'll see. I can't wait to tell you guys about it tomorrow when we're doing the op. That's gonna be at 12:30 Eastern Standard. There will also be a Saturday Rhodesian operation. It is going to be a one-off to basically raid an Egyptian train station. I added a bunch of cool custom stuff to it, and if the players aren't quick enough, they will all get wiped to T-34s. But if they are quick enough, they'll get a really nice payday. I might also raise some prices of a few things for balancing's sake, because now we got to start putting the sanctions on Rhodesia. I'm going to be honest, Reforger... Oh, almost saw two trucks get armored right there. One actually broke, hit the brakes real hard so it wouldn't hit the other vehicle. That's smart. The way you see vehicles driving super close to each other, though, you always got to be a little worried about if they're going to arm each other or not. Looks like you got OFCRA just trying to bypass the objectives to set up ambush positions just outside of the objective right there, so that's pretty cool. Blue 4, meanwhile, they're taking side streets, so that's slowing them down. So OFCRA is going to try to set up ambushes around the medical center in the station and goad Blue 4 in. Pretty smart to start. Reforger is a different beast than Arma 3, and it requires much different strategies for the quote-unquote mission development, which is you placing forces down, and how you actually execute maneuvers. And what I learned Zeusing for Reforger is there's... How do I word this? There's a lot less you can do, sure, but there's a lot more brutality you can get away with. And a lot of people are doing the Zeusing for it wrong. And I'd be really tempted to make a series of hot take videos explaining how you can incorporate simple military tactics into your Zeusing and just completely annihilate your player base on accident. But if you guys saw what I did in Reforger last Saturday, that ending pincer maneuver where I accidentally almost wiped them with just 2 8-man squads. Now think about it. When is the last time you saw, like, 15 to 20 players almost get wiped by 2 infantry squads? I'm not going to say it's never happened, because it has. We've seen it a few times. But recently, I can't think of a situation where that's happened in the last few years that didn't involve, like, heavy mods to give the AI advantages, like, you know, power armor from Fallout or, you know, something crazy like that. Congo is a good one, but Congo, you were never pushed by 2 squads. You were pushed by platoons. You would be able to outlast the, you know, like, 16A infantry AI. But it would be the other, like, 40 behind them that would beat you. And that's another thing I saw. A lot of the misplaying in the Zeus interface in Reforger is because Zeuses are spamming vehicles and the player base simply runs out of AT and they have no way to deal with it. That's not fun. Then again, neither is getting pincered by 2 infantry squads and completely bulldozed. I'd argue that's not fun either, but at least it's fair. They can do something about that. But I'm really curious about making a set of videos like that. So here's the deal. My Fallout playthrough, it's about half edited. I have the script fully done for it. I'm just, you know, taking it piece by piece, giving it a little funny edits here and there, letting the funny moments speak for themselves on that as well. After I finish that, I'm going to look into potentially making a breakdown of a few military tactics for Zeuses to use in Reforger. And, you know, if that does well, I'll make more. If the Fallout thing does well, I'll make more as well. Tomorrow, what we'll release on the main channel, though, is just another highlight compilation of various funny moments from, like, the past 10 days of operations. OFCRA put a ranging GL out on this group of infantry. The French are playing accordion music. And then even though they ranged that GL, it was short. Damn. And now Blue 4 is responding with a few GLs. I missed Ilvanex's plugin for TFAR, and now that it's mainstream on TFAR, it's just so funny to scroll in and listen to what the hell the player base is doing. Because from above you think, oh, they're being tactical, and then we actually go in and they're just playing accordion music, yelling at each other while GLs are flying by. It's like, yeah, that's the average Arma player for you. Now they're gonna blue on blue. That's even better. All right, so Blue 4's gone for an L-shaped, not an L-shape, a two-sided attack, but one side is engaging before the other can go in. This is just going to turn into two separate attacks, and Op4 might... Well, two things. Either Op4 just holds positions and then deals with the attacks one at a time, and then one might break through, or they send reinforcements to maneuver, hit this attack, open up an angle for this group to come in closer, and then that allows Blue 4 to do better, but too early to tell. Oh, I know Ilbanek. Like, he tried to release it, and then something broke about it, and then they had to revert it. I remember. But I know Deadman's had it on his, I wanted to say roster, but no, it was, like, fully ready to go. He just wasn't able to implement it because he was busy with other shit. I'm not blaming him at all. I'm just happy he was able to do it. Alright, Stanley, have a good one. Sorry to hear that your latency's exploding. But here's the thing about Reforger AI. I'd argue they're actually a little bit dumber than Arma AI. The one thing that makes them dangerous, I would say much more dangerous compared to Arma 3, is how janky Arma Reforger is compared to 3. And there's also just features missing outright. So players, for example, you can't hold your breath when you shoot your gun. Oh, final poll was 43.8 to Op4, 43 to Blue 4, 49 to Op4. Gotcha. All right, so pretty even, I'd say. You even have some marksmen firing from all the way over here, goddamn. But there's a lot of things that you do not have in Arma Reforger compared to 3. I think DUI, or like, you know, some sort of personal radar was just implemented as a mod. But you still can't, like, rest your weapon. Like, you can't hold your breath. So you cannot stabilize your gun to shoot things unless you get into one of the very specific janky angles to rest your weapon. So if you are overweight, God help you. God freaking help you. For those of you that play Reforger, another thing that I know is, do you get blood effects? Like when you hit somebody, does a little bit of like a blood effect come out of the body, or do they just slump over? Because if I remember correctly, they only just slump over. There's less ways to know if you hit and kill the AI. There's no easy tells when you're using mods like Ace to see if they ragdoll in a certain position to know if you have to double tap. You just have to guess. And you end up double tapping every body. Also, we saw a guy get knocked out of the vehicle. That's Pogrom. He gets pulled out. We have another KIA right here. Op4 is basically picking these guys off as they move in. But now you're having Blue 4 starting to maneuver. They could get behind these shooter groups and take them out. This also opens a massive blind spot in Op4's defensive line where Blue 4 could get into the central objective here. Op4 do have quite a bit in reserves because they've created a bit of an oval defending both of these positions, but that could lead to Blue 4 taking this easternmost position and just holding it out for the entire game, and that would give them the most points in the match if they can hold it for the entirety of the fight. But there's just, back to the Reforger conversation, there's just a lot of tells Arma 3 gives a player to know that they've beaten and killed the AI compared to Reforger. And there's a lot of extra features that an Arma 3 player has to defeat an opponent compared to Reforger. And that's why it's more difficult. Now add the fact that, yes, I would argue the Reforger AI are a little dumber, but holy crap, do they rush you. All right, missed throw right there. I think Defraw's accidentally throwing a frag, hurts Audricep with it. That's cute. You got machine gun fire coming in. They do get a knockout on an Op4 guy, but Oddball and Killer J are going to hold this position. to the best of their ability. They also, Blue 4, get back on the vehicle and start using its 50 cal. And its GPMG, and they're just spraying into the forest right here, trying to pin any defenders, or at least keep them suppressed so they can't re-engage. However, OPFOR is a little too deep to be worried about that machine gun fire, so it's not as effective. Oh, I would argue, if you really want a good example of what PvP is in Reforger, just go look at how DayZ players play. That's literally, it's the same game at that point. You're just dealing with, it's the same engine, it's just exactly the same, so you gotta be careful on that note. But yeah, people are just gonna hide in bushes and kill each other all the time. But how the PvE plays is because of how aggressive the AI can be. Like, you can waypoint the AI to follow a certain angle, and this is what I actually really appreciate about how they made the Reforger AI. I can waypoint the AI into a position outside of the aggressive range of when the AI detect the players and start automatically homing in on them. I can pretty much use it as a waypoint tactic and then guarantee that the AI are actually going to push the player base from a different angle. And if the player base is not pulling 360 security, especially if they're fresh off of playing Arma 3 and they're used to just being able to bulldoze 10 AI in like one magazine, which you cannot do in Reforger. Reforger, it takes multiple shots, and it is incredibly difficult to land a headshot, especially on multiple AI consistently past, I want to say, a CQC range. But I digress. The AI are just that much more of a threat because of how aggressive they can be, but it is up to the Zeus to maneuver them. If I maneuver the AI through an open field or pad them to then let them aggressively push the players from an open field, they're going to get chewed up and basically torn apart. But if I maneuver them through a tree line and they have all this cover to work with, my God, it is painful. The second biggest issue with Reforger compared to Arma 3 is all the buildings are darker on the inside, so you cannot see what happens in those buildings. So I could have a full squad in here, and the players wouldn't be able to see the AI in there. And, yeah, that gets a lot of people killed. It's pretty nuts. Alright, so we see OPFOR are responding by sending their Golf squad over to the side. This Blue 4 group is in a lot of danger because they are pretty much pinned right here by these spread out teams of OPFOR. They're trying to break through to get into the medical area, but Golf is going to start attacking this weekend flanker of only a small tribute of Blue 4 forces here, so I'm very worried about this group. And then once this group is taken out, Blue 4 will only have this attack to work with. OPFOR will turn all their attention over and deal with this element. Now, looks like the OPFOR squad that was here, Charlie, has pulled away. They're trying to envelop this Blue 4 element right here. This has opened the door for Blue 4 to get into the medical center, but OPFOR could very well just completely annihilate this attack wave and then turn their attention on this remaining force. I think Blue 4 is going to get defeated in detail at this point. We need to see these Blue 4 defenders beat the odds and somehow eliminate a group much bigger than them if Blue 4 wants to stay in the game. Also, Brig, how you doing? Thank you so much for the raid, buddy. How's everything doing with you? And Ilbanek, I completely agree, and I will gladly come in and cover it. I will admit, I do like Reforger's Zeus interface in terms of camera control a lot more than Arma 3's. It just takes a lot more time to get used to, but you can get a lot smoother with everything because you can make micro adjustments with your scroll speed on the fly instead of just relying on two speeds by holding Alt for the slower and then the normal one just by going around. And I guess technically the third one is when you hold Shift. It just, you know, takes a lot more time to learn. Yeah, that's fair, Ilbanek, that's fair. So we saw this element getting engaged by that Blue 4 team, but now we've got OPFOR elements getting right on top of Blue 4, but we do see they're also being taken out. So a few well-placed grenades by Killer would do wonders here. We also see this Blue 4 element getting engaged by Charlie. What we need to see Blue 4 do to respond is start sending these teams to flank these OPFOR flanking forces. If we could see Blue 4 sandwich this OPFOR group between the groups, then OFCRA will be the ones defeated in detail. But I think these guys are a little too rigid in their assault plan right now. That is an overall weakness with large-scale PvP, is once you commit to a plan, it is really difficult to then deviate from that plan. Which sucks, because no plan survives first contact. And you're seeing that execute right here, and Blue 4's in a lot of trouble. This could be a quicker round at this point, because if OFCRA just wiped this entire group and then turn around, and you still have to remember, OFCRA has 2 full squads in reserves. It's an additional at least 15 to 20 players. So even though OFCRA is committing less to this fight, they are fighting a smaller group of Blue 4, and then they can just turn and engage the other group. If you bet OFCRA, I'd be feeling pretty comfortable right now. With this roaming terrain of hills and forest, yeah, you do occasionally see people getting picked off, but for every OFCRA body you see, there's a Blue 4 body close by. Oh, Shadowblade, I'm sorry to hear it. Looking at the map side here, Blue 4, you can see where OFCRA pretty much has that envelopment. Charlie now going to be preventing any form of escape. Yeah, Blue 4 getting on the medical center, and they'll be able to get into it, but if OFCRA just commits to eliminating this force here, and then they just turn their attention, bring in these forces back here, and take everything out, that's all they need. Now, good on Blue 4 for using their vehicle to suppress the maneuver, the flanking element right here, and then utilizing a smoke cloud to prevent OFCRA from honing in on picking the people off in this vehicle. So that's a pretty good distraction for these guys to allow Blue 4 to commit all their forces into this line, or at least try to find a different maneuvering method, but the question is, will it be enough? And then you got Curie right here with a marksman loadout. He's going to pick off anybody he sees leave this open area. And you see that parring from the smoke here, if this wasn't here, he'd be able to get quite a few kills. You see individual Blue 4 actions trying to get flank routes on these guys, but there's just such a wide net of OFCRA along the entire Blue 4 line. Blue 4 are not able to get anyone around to flank, because as soon as a Blue 4 guy tries to flank an OFCRA position, he runs into a different OFCRA position and gets taken out, because he's in the open. Now you see as OFCRA advance in a bit of a diagonal pattern here, they're still maintaining it. Rigel eats a grenade, though. So as soon as OFCRA members are spotted, they are getting taken out, though. Now it looks like you have this fight opening up. OFCRA's firing with some of their far machine guns. This is going to pin this Blue 4 force over here, so they won't even be able to get in due to all this open field machine gun fire, which is going to further prevent them from even getting into a position to pull OFCRA away, and that's going to be the final nail in the coffin for this Blue 4 element over here. It's going to now be a bit of a slow, agonizing death for this Blue 4 element as OFCRA continues to pick them off. I think the only hope would technically be this group, but you do have a big chunk of OFCRA defenders around it as well. I don't think there's going to be any breakthrough. I think it's GG for Blue 4 at this point. Next, Ian. Yeah, Ian, I guess we'll have that conversation after this stream. We've put it off long enough. Lolo finds another Blue 4 member, takes him out. Okay, there's a little bit of a break right here, and you got Katz's 2IC coming in, but one of them gets picked off. But yeah, if you wanna, Katz just comes in with the GPMG and annihilates them. God damn. If you want to talk microtransactions for the Rhodesian campaign, shoot me a DM on Discord, and I'll provide a fair rate. And then announce that, because I know some of you Some of you want to have a bit of an advantage, and we can do it before I adjust prices. It's gonna be less, though, because Congo was relying on the currency as of now, and 1970s currency, it's gonna be, you know, it's adjusted for inflation, so. Because $25 now is not the same $25 you had in 1970. Bit of an upset here. Blue 4 actually sent a group over to deal with Charlie. And we actually see 2 uncons here. However, all right, this was only a 6-man force. They lost half of their guys, but they were fighting the entirety of Charlie. Oh, they've only had 1 KIA and 2 knockouts, so we need to see those 2 double taps, but that has negated this force and allowed for this vehicle to come up. But if we look at the map view here, you can see a big chunk of Blue 4's group is now dead up here, and Op 4's regrouping and now pushing this side. This was that stronger group where I said might have a chance, but after I saw the amount of Op 4, didn't really look like it. Ian, we can, again, we'll negotiate it out of here because I'm focused on too many things. Great grenade throw. I think it bounced a little far so it doesn't get Damien. Depso pushes him, though, and takes out the Op 4 shooter. That might have been Kiri. Then you have the 50 cal in the back of this car. You gotta remember, though, this bitch is scoped.
Where'd it go?
So that is an incredibly dangerous weapon. Now this group's going to start pushing the flank of this element. The only way they're going to... They do have a room to push back, but they might still fear the fact that it's an open area and that they could still be engaged by machine gun fire. Just the fear of that potentially happening is going to force them to stay in this zone. And then you have Cats still being super aggressive with that GPMG. He's going to target this... Oh! Pogram with some great security manages to knock Cats out. And double tap him. He's now dead. But scrolling out, look at the sheer amount of Blue 4 we have compared to Op 4. Op 4 have a solution. They're working on getting forces over here to take them out. Op 4's major group over here is getting knocked out. I'm going to be honest, this just went to the more aggressive player base. Op 4 was able to go past the objectives and set up on Blue 4's push routes and perfectly identify where half of Blue 4's force was going to come in from. And from there, just execute. And Blue 4 was unable to take their other force and use it to back their main attack. And they just ended up splitting into 2 attack groups and then falling flat. Man of Knowledge, if you remind me at the end of this, I can check the mod set and let you know. And I'll even link it in the in the chat for you. If you just wait till the end of the stream, because by then I can Alt F4 and then look into Arma 3's launcher itself. More than happy to do that for you. Because I'm not sure if it's French Point. That is one of the French mods that exists, but I can't guarantee it without actually looking at the mod set itself. It's in the mod set? Okay, Angel. If you have access to OFCRA's site or Discord and you can see it, then by all means. God, I'm trying to remember what the name of the mod set was. I can't even remember that at the top of my head. Yeah, no problem, man. Let's just, you know, we'll just make sure. So Blue 4's down to 3 guys right here. A GL comes in. It looks like it was a flare GL because it didn't go off. Nothing. Was that just a dud GL? No smoke's coming out. Yeah, they're duds. Huh. So we got 3 Blue 4 from that counter-attacking force, but looks like a big chunk of Charlie was taken out. They got 2 more kills. So that flanking attack was effective. I have no idea what Rigel's shooting. But he's in the open right now, and he gets taken out pretty easily. I don't know if there's a Blue 4 guy right there. These guys are shooting at ghosts, but no, we have these 3. Well, now 2 Blue 4 because Mr. White gets spotted. Yeah, it's Borderlands 2 is the name of the mission. I don't know if that was the name of the mod set, but it's fine. I would say this fight's pretty much over. So, Tracer is done in the spectator interface with either the P or the J key. It's the P key, because I just hit it once. Marty gets blown up by the grenade. In my Zeus interface, Adriano ripped the script out that causes this, and we put it in the mission folder of every mission, and then we execute it with some SQF scripting in the mission file. We have the toggle button in that script be the T key, but I think you can toggle it to any key. Twig does the right idea, disengages, throws a grenade. The grenade goes a little far, though, but in that rushed situation, you can't really place your grenades properly. Pogram's the only one here, though. But I'm also more than happy to share the Tracer script with anyone at this point. You just have to DM me. I mean, hell, I had someone ask me for... Actually, no, I didn't ask. I offered it to a guy, because, if you notice the guy named Zombie coming into chat, he was in here because after Stillwater on Saturday, I saw him playing Arma, and I'm like, all right, let's raid this guy. Made his night. Happy to do it. But I was telling them about what I Zeused, and it was the, since they seemed newer to Arma... there was another guy in his chat that was the Zeus for them. I'm like, hey, do you want a bomb caller script where you can pair the player base together, and if one of them dies, another person can explode? And he's like, hell yeah. So I sent him all the stuff, explained how it worked. He already had an understanding of SQF, but, you know, now they've got that, the Battle Royale 2 script to play with. But, you know, this is all about having fun. But if you want any of the scripts that you see me playing with, just ask me. I'll share them with you. I don't care. Alright, Fulgrim gets taken out. And now we're just down to the main Blue 4 Assault Force here. Command, who's trying to stay in the back so he doesn't get killed before the 70-minute mark. And then this 3-man team over here, which might be finally disengaging after licking their wounds. And here's the situation. Blue 4 are pretty much pinned outside of the objective area. Op 4 are maneuvering forces closer, but they are maximizing the use of this open area. What you're going to now see is Op 4 take this force, rally them, cross right here, flank this element, and you might also see another group come in and do that, but it looks like no. So the group that was surrounding this area has instead come over here to back up this position. So it's going to rely on this force to come in and do the flanking action. You might also see a bit of Alpha do the same. And we're only at the 29-minute mark. Yeah, I mean, Pogrom did a good job surviving, but unfortunately, when you have like 30 guys around you, well, 15 to 20, I'll be modest on that point. You're eventually going to get found. You don't have the entire village that Adriano did to hide in when he got his 23-0. Praise be to Adriano. One of the best one-life PvPers in the world. Ian, we'll handle it in DMs, okay? The only way I see Blue 4 coming close to winning is if they pull all their forces away, flank all the way around, grab the lodge, barely fight for the station and win the station. That would give them 3 points, and then their officer is alive, and then they can at least tie the game. Because if Op 4's officer is still alive, it's going to be Fonz. Him getting 1 point for staying alive till the 70-minute mark and then securing the medical zone would give a 3 point. It would be 4-4 tie game, but Blue 4 is... This is just not the best position to be in at all. Because the terrain doesn't favor them at all. And the smartest thing Op 4 did was basically take control of this central area and set up a buffer zone around it so they can utilize all of this open space around the medical center. Because it is just that difficult to assault. Now, you do have Blue 4 still getting some pickoffs on the defenders here and there, but
if Blue 4 just continue to stay here and try to assault in, OpFor is eventually going to send those forces around and flank and just start taking them out. If Blue 4 start to separate, though, they're just going to get defeated in detail, similar to what happened with half their force right there. So there's just not a lot of good winning options here. And yeah, I'll drink. Yeah, Cats, I saw you go nuts with the GPMG. Unfortunately, that one guy was watching, I think it was Pogrom watching you, and he just picked you off. But it's pretty much a GG at this point. I looked and there was an entire agreement in Discord to just rush this last objective. So what do you mean by rush? Because in my humble opinion, neither side really rushed it. It was more so OpFor rushed ahead with 2 groups and then set up a blocking position. And then Blue 4 didn't rush it. They deployed outside on 2 spots and then waltzed in and met resistance because OpFor rushed out and set up defenses. So unless you mean both sides are just going to fight for the medical center itself, which makes sense based off of their placement. But OpFor still set up forces around the station, so Huh. Gotcha, Cats. Alright, well, I mean, it worked out, because Blue 4 kind of separated themselves. You can see these guys have gotten hit quite a bit, though. He also got hit. You see multiple blood splatters around, so they're forced to continuously do medical. Let's see, we've got the surviving elements of Charlie are starting to come in and flank around. Bravo are starting to send small teams around. I'm going to be honest, small teams flanking are also pretty good, because if you're just trying to find a larger group that's already engaging this forward element, you just have to hone in on the gunfire, get behind them, toss a few grenades, get a few headshots. Even if you go down because they have the numeric advantage, you're still going to get at least like 2 to 5 kills. And then if, you know, a 2-man team does that, gets maybe, you know, 5 or so kills. Another 2-man team does that, gets another 5 or so kills. That's losing 4 people and taking out 10. 10 is literally this group. Then you just have this left. And then the pickoffs with the machine gun and marksman fire are going to get more, and then Blue 4 is going to be withered down to nothing. I guess Gulf is being sent over to secure points on the other objectives. Or just a patrol to see if there's any more Blue 4 coming from a different direction. But yeah, this is over. Anyway, second stream is going to be in a little under 4 hours. We're going to be doing a bunch of crazy shit in POG, in the Broken Crown campaign. I'll be trying my best to survive. After this stream, I got to talk with Ian, and I guess since Nix was also interested, we'll talk about a ratio for microtransaction in Rhodesia. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to definitely adjust some prices, but I'll wait till after I get that announcement out, and then I'll also, you know, announce when I'll make the changes. So the argument for Blue 4 is you can use the riverbed to cross and throw a bunch of smokes to obfuscate, but in practice, that always falls apart. All right, first group, it's Twig King crossing. He's already on, oh my god, he's already on 5 kills. Twig is going to potentially double that. However, Blue 4 spaced out pretty well, so as soon as they start firing, they're going to be able to turn and engage him, so that might limit his ability to actually assault. You got some additional Blue 4 now trying to flank around right here as OpFor, funny enough, are pulling away from this area here. Looks like they're actually trying to regroup on this side to firm it up. That's fair. But the best thing Blue 4 can do in this position is spread out like this, because that makes it harder for OpFor to pin them down on these flanking attacks. just makes it a little harder for Blue 4 to then respond to helping each other out. Twig, I think, just got kill number 6. Yep. But when you're also spaced out like this, unless you have direct eyes on everybody around you... Huh?
What the fuck? Hey, could you not hear them shooting northwest? They're right there.
Yeah, and you hear them calling it out as well. But, Are you okay?
Friendly.
He might be head bugged. Twig immediately blows that guy away. Herzog here on the flank gets Twig. Twig ends with 7 kills. That'd be really funny if he got red on red and double tapped, but I don't think he's waking up after that shot, but you can see they're actually trying to hone in and hit him. I'm waiting to see if he actually gets double tapped by friendlies. That'd be funny as hell. And Herzog manages to get Killer J as well. So yeah, even then, 2 additional kills before he goes down. As long as you're positive on that, it helps. These two are going super wide, though. I don't know why. Maybe they misread and think they're... Well, no. Maybe they're trying to go in the high ground to see if they can see him from back here, but in a forest, that's unlikely. They just need to hone into the gunfire. So I think they're just instead reading the map and trying to get on an elevated position and then see if there's anyone they can flank and engage from the rear on elevated positioning, but... I don't know. No offense to the NR community. I love them, but they do make some pretty weird decisions sometimes. Like, I would argue it's more like by the book of, oh, I see an elevated position on the map. I'm going to go to that, and then from there I can see the enemy. I would say it's decisions made that are based off of what looks good on paper, but when they actually execute it, it's just a lack of experience that shows why that might not have been the best decision. Arma 3 versus Reforger. What do you want to know? What do you want to know specifically, Depressed? Are we talking from a Zeus standpoint, a PvE standpoint, a PvP? Which one is worth buying now? So, what are that? And again, I hate to ask follow-ups here, but I wanna know. So PvP, if you've ever played DayZ and you like how DayZ plays in a PvP standpoint, Reforger's definitely for you. If you want PvP in terms of like large scale, there's definitely a lot of servers that are constantly populated. You'll have no problems finding a PvP game in Reforger. PvP has a lot of event-based stuff in Arma 3 at the moment, like what we're streaming right now, OFCRA, there's FNF, there's TBD, there's just a bunch of different communities out there, WOG, Solitude Games, where you can play literally 100 to 200, I think the highest I've seen is 235 player PvP. And then there's also plenty of servers out there that do Wasteland or King of the Hill for Arma 3 as well. But performance and optimization, I'd say both games actually have that pretty well done. Arma 3 recently got a bunch of patches to further optimize it. That's a great grenade, and it's going to knock out both of them. Beautiful. I'd say you're probably not going to have an issue with performance on either. Arma 3 is an older game in terms of its engine. It's like a 20-plus-year-old engine at this point because it's from the early 2000s. But again, recently it got a lot of CPU optimization patches because it draws a lot of its optimization from your, oh my god, your CPU rather than your GPU, your graphics card. So the optimization that Arma 3 did basically allows for hyper-threading and for Arma 3 to utilize more of the cores on your CPU rather than the primary one, your first one. Whereas Reforger is more GPU graphics card focused and optimized too. But I'd say in terms of playing PvP, like, have you ever played DayZ, Depressed? If you haven't, it's a little harder for me to recommend based off of that, you know? Oh my god, he woke up. But he's in a smoke cloud, so he might actually buy himself a few seconds here. He's not in it, but he's at an angle where people aren't noticing. I agree, Shadowblade, but the same can be said about PvP servers in, that was a little bit of a fumble. The same can be said about Reforger servers, though. Yeah, the servers also depend on... the PvP experiences depend on what server you join. But there are some dedicated PvP servers for, like, Vietnam is a pretty popular one. The standard Cold War stuff there, that Reforger hosts as well, is pretty common. Yeah, he wasn't full auto. You could see that single shot, and that's kind of what screwed him there. But yeah, I will say in a lot of PvP for Reforger right now, there's definitely a lot of bush camping. Not to say Arma 3 doesn't have that same issue as well, but I'd say it's more prominent on Reforger these days. But did that answer your question, Depressed, or do you have any follow-ups? Because, again, this match is over. OPFOR have a defined number advantage. They've sent people back. They're holding the station instead, so they've got, I think, 6 or 7 guys on reserves back there. I think 8, actually. But they might... Oh, they sent a few people back, though, so... Blue 4's literally down to maybe a dozen men, give or take. I did see what happened with G's military purge. I'm debating if I have the time to run an op about it, though. I think it would be really cool. It's just, can I find the time to do it? Because, I mean, we ran a Greenland op, which was pretty funny. I had plans to run maybe 1 or 2 more ops, but that fell flat because my player base asked to restart a zombie campaign, and a lot of my effort right now has been going into the newest Rhodesian campaign and getting that all set up. But between the zombie campaign I have planned and the Rhodesian campaign, and then I need to finish out the Gra campaign too, which I'm still pissed off about because, It bugs and broke. Great grenade throw by T right there. That takes out that guy. But I have to redo that mission, which it's only going to take me maybe an hour or 2, but still it's frustrating to have to cancel an op slot twice. But we'll see. I'd like to get to it, Alteds, but I also, Seeker, like, oh God. There's an Alligator Alcatraz mission that I need to run next weekend because I've pushed it off for literally a month and a half because there's another mission I wanted to run with it. To basically put Luce in that damn prison. And if you don't know, don't worry about it. He's a troll in my community that we just bully because it's fun. But he keeps posting Wally shit. But regardless, I'm behind on a lot of missions I already want to do. I'd like to do it Altheads, but it just depends on if I have the time. But I think it would be really cool to try to do like an extraction op on the General. And have a CIA team or something there helping him, have a local force team helping him. But you also have to consider player base. That would be something where I would need at least 30 or so people. And Arma 3 is at the lowest point in popularity as it's ever been because it's, what, an 11-year-old game at this point? It's a 13-year-old game, actually, technically. And Arma 4 is literally coming out next year. So I do struggle to get, you know, dedicated player counts up to that high of a level. So I just work with what I got. But I can always ask a few other communities, but there's other things on the roster. And the thing about topical ops is if you wait too long, eventually it becomes irrelevant. Arma 4 is going to get delayed. Not from what I know. But anyway. Waiting to see if Daigor gets picked off because he's exposed by a machine gunner right here trying to pick him off. But the slight tree texture is deflecting shots. He's getting hit in the back. Fardax, DM me on Discord. I am more than happy to help you find a place because I could not disagree more. But it also depends on what you're looking for in Arma 3. But statements like that usually just mean you don't know where to look. And that's entirely fair because it's a mess. It's like looking for a place in Minecraft or something. It's just incredibly difficult. Oh, no. Blue 4 actually got 2 infiltrators here. Jesse's going to either get killed or he's going to whip around and kill them both with the GPMG. Daniel gives 2 shots and basically annihilates Jesse, saving him from Heartseer. That's great. Or saving, you know what I mean. Nemesis, you're telling me. How's Yanni's mom? Obligatory question always ask. Killing, no, but I hear things. But I also walk a fine line between what I'm going to tell people and what I know, because if you never want to bite the hand that feeds you, and as much as I'd love to tell you everything I do know about things, I don't want to piss off the people that have ownership of my ass at this point. Great shot by Demovar right there. Yeah, I want to continue to hear things, you know? Yeah, Twig, you did a good job. You were at 7 kills, I believe, before you got picked off on that flank, so GG, good job. But there's probably killing, I'm going to be honest with you, the normal... How would I say this? The normal order of operations for when NDAs come out is usually anywhere from, like, I'd say roughly 3 months before it actually happens, which, considering ARMA's standard operating procedure for releases, probably will not happen till spring or summer of 2027. Yeah, NR had 2 guys on that rear hill, but they weren't going to be able to see anything from that hill anyway. Alright, reminding myself, once this round ends, I gotta tab out and make sure we get the French mods, and I'll link them in chat. I don't think there's anything else I need to do, other than the stuff with Ian, and then, you know, if anyone DMs me, I'm more than happy to help you set up, and get through ARMA shenanigans. Demovar's try. Oh, he actually did get the headshot. I saw that triangle disappear. I don't see a body, though, which is even more surprise. Ah, here it is. Good shot. So it's just Daniel back here. The other guy got taken out. But he is the one with the GPMG. He was getting the kills. He did get Jesse killed, for example. But just look at the amount of blue 4 compared to Op 4 defenders, then Op 4 still have the reserves right there, so it's just a slow, brutal death. Yeah, Nem, let me know. Because I need to book timeout for shit. Fardax, okay, actually, this is anyone. Can someone type ! Discord? Fardax, you can also do it as well. There'll be a link that comes up. That's my community's Discord, and then from there you can DM me. You don't even have to go through anything in that Discord. Just DM me. My DMs are open. I can help you out. And while I'm doing that, I'll get into Ian's DMs and we'll talk about other shit. How did T miss those two? Those were damn short. He hit the tree instead of Daniel, but Daniel immediately knew to run. All right, neither side captures the lodge. Daniel runs a little too far in the open and starts getting suppressed. He's got 2 Op 4 running on him. Damn, Settler. T gets blown away. Might have also gotten a little bit of friendly fire right there, too. But this guy's gun is also heavily over range, because the shots are going at least a meter above Daniel's head. TB trying to come around. Daniel's crawling into position, though, to get shot. T wakes back up. He's also crawling. TB. He might see the backpack first. Ah, and he knocks Daniel out because the helmet and the head were first, and that's exactly where TB was shooting. Now you might see a bit of red on red here, but ouch. Oh, blue 4 down to 8 players. Op 4, meanwhile, have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It is 8 to 23. Can we see blue 4 scopes in first person? Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is a 230S. Actually, no, it's not an S. It's 230... I forget what the designation is to have the red dot on top of it, but you have the 230, which is for 5.56, and then the 230A, which is for 7.62 by 51, which is not a dog shit scope at all. I think you're talking about maybe the ones on the... oh, these are ACRs, now that I look at the texture.
Are we just two?
No, we're ready.
So are you talking about the holographics? I'm trying to see an example. Yeah, anything that's red dot is definitely to personal preference. Like, I always prefer the CCO68 scope, which is the red dot that you can put on most blue 4 rifles. That one always does me justice. But I want to see a player look through the holographic site. Because if it's the dirty holographic where, like, there's a lot of, like, smidges on it and shit, then yeah, I agree with you. That is, like, the most dog shit one out of all of them. Yeah, because it's covered in dirt, yeah. So, obviously, if you give one side dirty scopes and the other side clean scopes, that is a pretty big advantage. Come on, buddy, just look through it. I need to verify. Just looking at it, though, you can see it's beaten up. Like, goddamn.
Copy, shall I'm covering you.
Oh, come on, do it. Scope in. Nope, they're moving. It's a little crackle, but it doesn't have that obnoxious thumbprint on it, for example. I fucking hated that. I think that's on vanilla holographics. Oh, it gives that the white glow. Yeah, that's the lens flare of the scope itself, the reflection of the sun. So yeah. Whereas if we look at OFCRA's, I think OFCRA have the same ones. No, they have the same ones too. Yeah, no, the same scopes are being used on both sides. So if both sides get dog shit holographics, it becomes a bit of a moot point, I'm sorry to say. Settler. Oh, I'm so sorry, buddy. That one might be a skill issue. Ooh. Check a few more. Maybe people are looting the enemy scopes. Kinda looks like the same. That's binos.
I guess I'm dead. But I can't join back. I was India.
Wait, how the hell are you in here? I shouldn't be able to hear anybody. Who are you, Ghost? That was weird. The plugin glitched out. I could hear somebody.
If you look at, they've had enough time with this mission file, and they can see all of that open ground south. It's a mad.
It's a demon. Yeah, so they're trying to flank around. This will be cashed in another 15 minutes, give or take.
There's like a bunch of like small divots into the ground.
But you've got this OFCRA force now kind of trying to hunt the rear of the blue 4 formation. Ian, no. What do you mean? Please tell me you're just talking about the plugin itself, not like it updated again right now. Shit. Al, can you enable his thing? Okay, yeah, it did not. Alright. I love auto mod. How many people exist? It was like 23 Op4 and 8 Blue 4, so it's pretty messy. It's been GG for a while. Like, as soon as we saw the two-pronged attack and Op4 starting to surround one side and the other attack was not even able to get into their objective, it was GG. This machine gun is horribly under range. The rounds are ricocheting off, but at least now Op4 knows a little bit of where Blue 4 is coming from. Oh my god, TFAR did update. What did they... Can someone post the changelog in my chat so I can see what they updated? What did Dead Man Miller do? Is it going to require another plugin update? I hope not. That was such a pain to walk some people through. It's the last updated version with 32-bit support. I'm going to be honest, I don't know anyone that still plays ARM on a 32-bit system, though. Maybe they're still using Arma 3's 32-bit launcher, which you shouldn't. Like, that... You should not be executing Arma 3 as a 32-bit executable in 2026. I'm sorry. There's no reason to do that anymore. It will not fix anything. And if it does fix something, then there's something wrong with your computer. But I don't think I know anyone that's playing. Yeah, unless you're running like Windows XP, which, damn, good on you, but... Ah, he sees barrels. Now these guys are taking machine gun fire, though. Stanley, are you in my chat right now? Because I see I opened Discord on my phone just to look at some of the DMs I get. Fun fact, people never DM me while I'm not streaming. I always get a flood of DMs while I'm streaming. It's weird. It's like they see the notification and go, oh yeah, I need to message Liru about something. And then I get, you know, 5 or 10 DMs. And I'm just like, bro, you can do this at any other time of the day.
Send in Goat Team 6.
And if Stanley's not here, then I'll just reply to him. Gothic giving a sub out to Stream Elements, keeping the bot alive. Gothic, I appreciate it, broski. Hope you keep enjoying the operations. Hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. You know, Horse, yeah, no. All right, credit where credit's due. Horse was the only person today that that DM'd me for something work-related outside when I was streaming. So yes, Horse, you get credit. You get partial credit. No, you get full credit. But I'm not seeing Stanley reply in chat, so I'll just reply to him later. Zixme showing his aggression, runs up, gets a kill on one of the Blue 4 guys. 3 Blue 4 alive here, 3 more in the back. Blue 4's gone from 8 to 6. Nix, what did you even say? You know what? Can't wait to be tied. Oh, yeah, no, that... 3 kills for Zixme. Somer manages to get Lolo. But Somer is now the last Blue 4 alive. Wait, Angel, 4 people got cable tied in the last POG op? I'm not surprised my entire squad got wiped because we couldn't watch a single opening, apparently. Everyone ran off and then got mortared, and when I ran back after helping someone that got mortared, just everyone was dead for some weird reason. I'm like, bro, what did you do? Like, we had one job and we failed. Lancer and some Logi boys. Nice. I see, Angel. Well, that should be funny. Oh, here comes Zixme. And that was his 4th kill. Alright, Zixme coming back to show his small unit tactic aggression. I guess we'll rescue next then. Alright, OPFOR showing a little bit of aggression. They're getting picked off in open areas, though, but now you got OPFOR turning this entire assault force over. You also have a few guys coming around over here, but they're not showing any aggression. So, last 3 blue 4 are right here. So, Stanley DM'd me on Discord asking me if he can use the same op slot he had on the second Wednesday slot to run the next mission of whatever he's planning. The issue I have with that is the op slot I wanted to have take over for the zombie campaign. So I'm going to have the players vote on it. I'll put a poll out and I'll reply to Stanley. I'll just leave it in the player base's hands because I don't care either way. You know, I can do it at a different time, but it's just whenever the players are available to do it. So you see a big line of aggression right here, but you also see some friendly fire. And Matt's also looking the complete wrong way with this weapon. I think he still thinks that there's hostiles over here, not realizing they've all been taken out. And then you have the other hunter-killer vehicle coming out. Yep, you only have the 3 blue 4 left right here. OPFOR still has at least 20 dudes. Maybe a little below 20, but we counted it a little beforehand. It was 8 blue 4 to like 23 OPFOR, so it is roughly like a 7-to-1 scale right now. Some of our cuts in a little early as blue 4 pull away. Gale takes a few hits. Really good disengagement by blue 4 there. They barely avoid the 3 OPFOR aggressors here. However, I do want this round to end so I can get some other work, so. Blue 4 just delaying the inevitable. Gale sets up, starts shooting, and with that, he signs his death warrant. He gets knocked out, and the 2 blue 4 are displacing. Frodo and Sam continue. The 2 Scottish Highlanders versus the army of British orcs. Let's see how things go. Oh, right, I'm sorry. Will Tribala channel his inner Audrey Hotto and win the match for Blue 4? Let's find out. They spot Demovar. Okay, they actually knock him out. Will they double tap? They do. Tribala gets the kill. 1 down, 22 to go for the Audrey Hotto. Tribala takes fire, avoids the fire, throws a grenade. Now Eric is shooting at him, but Tribala heroically crawls away. Over to his... well, Sam is unconscious. I thought it would be Frodo goes unconscious, and then Sam carries him out. No, it's okay, right? They're channeling their inner Audrey Hotto. They'll make it. Yeah, Travala will make it. He's just got to crawl away, right? He's got this. He's got this. He doesn't got it. He's dead. He's also dead. They're dead. They died. Anyway, that is going to be a blue 4 victory. Let me get that paid out, and then let me verify the mod that was used. Thank you for paying out the prediction. And now let me verify. Yep, it was Operation French Point. So, for the one guy that wanted it, there you go. Let me just look here. There was an Ace compatibility with it, too, because they were using Ace. There's that mod right there. And that appears to be it for French stuff. Cool. All right, guys, we'll be back in 3 hours for POG. Thank you so much for watching. Go operate operationally. Got to handle all those DMs now. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. Cheers, and have a good one.